Hey guys, this is Alex Cook, and I'm going to make a video talking about my tips for success in Army OCS. And the reason why I'm making this video is when I was getting ready to ship out, there were a lot of things written or on YouTube about Marine OCS or Navy, but not really as much about the Army. So hopefully I can maybe provide some insight and give you guys some tips if you're about to go through this program. So first of all, I did have some people on earlier videos of mine ask why it was that I made the move from finance to the military. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to have a link below that you can click on that goes to my thread on Wall Street Oasis, and I talk about that there. So if you're interested, you can read up on that over there. Beyond that, that's not really the topic of this video. I want to keep this more on point about Army OCS and tips for success in that. So first of all, what I'm going to do with this video is I'm going to go not quite in chronological order because the program changes based on AARs, based on needs of the force. So I'm going to go mostly over big rocks that trip some people up or maybe cause them to recycle. And then I'm also going to talk about branching and the OML because, bottom line up front, I think that's what most people are interested in. What are they going to get once they're out of officer candidate school, what kind of MOS they're going to have, and also things that might trip them up along the way, and also just some general tips for success. So one thing that you should know is you're going to hear a lot of rumors. There's going to be a lot of things written online, and even take this video that I'm making with a little grain of salt. And what I mean by that is I graduated February 2017. You may see other content online that was older, and look, what they're saying may have been valid at the time that they went through the program, but again, the program is always changing, depending on feedback, depending on what's coming down from TRADOC. So let me give you a really specific example. From what I was reading online, and even when I finished up basic training, our basic cadre actually gave us a prep for OCS packet to all the 09C areas, and part of that was a section called required knowledge, and this would include things like quotes from generals, things that we had to memorize. Well, we never actually did any of that. So look, those things may have happened for previous classes, but again, your experience may vary, so take everything you hear with a little grain of salt, especially once you get to HHC. You'll hear all kinds of rumors. Just take with a little grain of salt. Just focus on your success and the success of your battle buddies. That's really it. So the first big rock that I want to go over, I'm going to go over two really big rocks, and then the third a little bit to a degree, are land nav and history. And I'm also going to talk a little bit about the grad run because that tripped a few people up, unfortunately. So land nav, Red Diamond, it is a challenging course, and what makes it challenging is just how big it is. So just be prepared to run to make your time. I would highly suggest get some comfortable boots. Get some Garmonts, get some Oakleys. The Oakleys are super comfortable. I just found out that they tend to wear out kind of quickly. I bought some at the start of my OCS class, and by the end, the seams were starting to pop a little bit. I got some Garmonts from when I was going to Ebolik, and those are really comfortable as well, but they also seem to be a bit more durable. Point being, just have some good footwear. You're going to be running, especially also once you go into squad and platoon lanes as well. Having some good footwear will be very helpful. Look, land nav, the course is really designed for you to succeed. It is a challenging course, but at the same time, look, this is not like the Special Forces Star of Death, all right, in the selection course for them, all right? This is half a Red Diamond. In Ranger School, I think they do the whole Red Diamond course, which is about twice as large. So if you're coming out of basic and you're thinking, oh no, in basic, we didn't really learn a whole lot about land nav, I'm kind of worried. Look, once you actually get to OCS, there's quite a bit of classroom instruction. We do things like we went out to our PT field and we had our winter fleece cap for our PTs, and what we did is we just pulled it down over our eyes, so it's kind of like a blindfold, and you just walk straight with a battle buddy. And the idea is, you think you're walking straight, but since you can't see, you start kind of veering off to one direction or another. And I realized I was actually veering left the point of this exercise is that because it's night and a day land nav, you'll kind of know in low visibility or in low light conditions how you're naturally drifting. And little things like that are what the category is going to be going over. So look, you will be getting prepped for land nav. A big thing, as one of our trainers said, is just don't freak out. And that's really a big thing for that. I will tell you this, what took me from getting 2 out of 5 points on practice day to 5 out of 5 on go day, it was just a really simple adjustment. And what that was is just switching up my pace count depending on the terrain. So my pace count is normally 65 paces to 100 meters on a flat, like paved road. But once I start getting into, the woods, it goes up to 80 or even 90. So just knowing that, making that little adjustment that, I'm actually not going far enough, that's really just what made all the difference right there. I'll tell you what I did is I didn't do any dead reckoning at all. I just took the main roads and then used a pace count to figure out when I'd be perpendicular, like 0, 90, 180, or 270 degrees to a certain point. Then once I got there, I just shot that hard azimuth, like 270 or whatever, and I just walked in a straight line. That's it. I didn't do any dead reckoning from weird weird attack points. I just did it plain and simple, and that seemed to work. But whatever works for you. If you have a system that works better, do that. Train association, whatever works for you, do that. I'm just telling what worked for me personally is I took the hard roads and then shot just hard lines, and that seemed to get the job done. All right, another big rock is history. And Doc Campbell, if he's still teaching it at the time that you guys go through, what he said, and I agree, is look, it's really tactics as explained through military history. So don't just think, what did this general do on this day? I mean, you will have to rote memorize a few things, but just think more like what is the theory behind that? And if you understand that, I think that's what will make you successful in history. So at the end of the day, get with your buddies in the barracks and just go back over your notes, because it is a 2-week really immersion into history. It's all you do. Just go back over the notes with them. If there's any section that you don't quite get, ask them about it. Chances are someone else can fill in the gaps for you. Again, it's really set up for you to succeed. So if you have questions, ask your battle buddies, ask Doc Campbell in class, go over the PowerPoints, and try to take good notes when you're in class as well. All right, there's another big rock, not as big as the other two, but one issue that did come up was the grad run, which we did unfortunately have a few people fall out of. It is a graduation requirement. Just be able to run 5 miles in 45 minutes before you ship off, and you should be good. It is roughly a 9-minute pace. It's 2.5 miles down. They do a ceremony, and then 2.5 miles back. When you come back, it's more uphill on the way. But just point being, be able to run 5 miles at a 9-minute pace, and you should be good to go. All right, that goes over the big rocks. Now I want to talk more about branching and the OML. So if you're reserves or National Guard, you don't need to worry about that. You're probably already pre-branched, or your state might have a process of its own. For active duty, you compete for your slots. The question that you may ask is, how do I get an MI slot? A lot of people talk about that online. Those slots tend to be pretty in demand, so just be in the top of your class if you want to do MI. There's branch details, meaning you do 3 years in another role, infantry, field artillery, something like that, and then you would go over to MI once you're at the captain level. You go through the MI CCC instead of say field artillery, and then you branch MI at that point. You can put in a packet. That's something that people have been saying online, but just keep in mind that the OML really is what matters. There were a lot of people that submitted MI packets, and we had 2 MI slots in my class, total pure MI slots with more branch detail slots. One went to the person who was second overall in our class. First overall in our class, yeah, he just wanted to do something different. And then the other went to one who he wasn't next in line for that second OML, the pure OML ranking for MI, but he was still extremely close. And he also had a very good resume for MI. All right, he spoke multiple languages, prior service, already had a really good background for this. So just keep that in mind. It should be a calculated risk for you that going in, you may not necessarily get the branch that you want. So if you are 100% dead set, I only want to do this branch, I'll be honest, that might not be the best attitude for success. Or if that's really what you think, maybe you want to look at National Guard or Reserves, maybe you want to look at MI in a different area, maybe a 3-letter agency or even the private sector. In the military, as an officer, you don't have as much say on what branch you go to. That's just how it works. If you 100% want a certain MOS, that's really almost what the enlisted side is there for. So for us, one other thing about branching too is females now can be force branched into combat arms. That wasn't a thing just a year or so ago. It is now a thing. We actually had some in our class that were force branched armor and field artillery. Infantry, not yet. They cannot be a force branch infantry, although I hear some talk that may be changing as well. So, just keep in mind what you may have read in the past that, if there's a force branching situation, a male would get force branched field artillery, or would get force branched combat arms, so a female could get support. That is no longer the case. Females now can get force branched into combat arms. Trade-off to that is, in our class, all females had to be able to qualify heavy on the OPAT. Look, the OPAT is not that bad. Everyone should be able to qualify heavy on the OPAT. It's really not that bad. All right, going over the OML. There were a lot of things that added up to it, but the two really big differentiators were the PT test and squad lanes. The history test, land nav, that counts a little bit, but the point weighting of those just really wasn't that big by comparison. Your garrison leadership eval, that factors in as well, but I can tell you, at least from our class, our grades were kind of about the same for that. It was really squad lanes and the first class of PT tests that made the big difference, that were the big shakers up. So we did 3 PT tests total, but only the first one actually counted for the OML. Now, again, your experience might be different. I'm just saying the experience of my class, class 0117, that we graduated in February 2017. Your experience may be different. So we had our class of PT test. We did diagnostic one towards the end, which was student-led, and then we had our final APFT. Squad lanes, so how that works is you will lead a squad-sized element doing a light infantry task, and you're going to be evaluated on kind of your understanding the tactics, delivering an op board, and then the actual execution. I'll tell you this, is don't get butthurt about this. So you get 2 attempts. First go I went, I didn't do as well as I'd like, so I took the feedback from cadre, and then next time I got an E, which that's the high grade on it. So take the feedback you get. People were complaining like, oh no, it's not fair, the world, everything's so bad. One, it's just not really an attitude people want to just generally be around. 2, look, even if you're going, I don't know, some non-combat arms role, I do think it's still important to know just for general Army knowledge, and more. Look, this stuff really isn't that hard. Just when the cadre goes over the tactics, pay attention to that. A lot of things that tripped me up my first time were really just small basic things. Like I forgot to mention one line of the op board. So just keep those basics, and then if you have those basics, those will add up to points, and that should get you at least a high S or hopefully an E. When you get your garrison leadership looks, look, don't freak out if you get assigned a leadership role. It's really designed to set you up to succeed. I was a squad leader, and then I was a student CO. And if you have any questions about it, just ask people who were in those roles before you. Or if it's a class up and you're the first one ever in those roles, ask cadre. The program is designed to set you up for success. So if you have any questions, ask. One big piece of advice I would give, especially if you're a student CO, XO, or first sergeant, is communicate. You know, people don't get mad when they're asked to do work. They get mad when they don't understand why they're doing something, or if they think they're being treated unfairly. Like if they think that, oh no, I'm being put on this shift over and over, you know, why are they singling me out, blah, blah, blah. Just, you know, just make sure there's that communication so people don't feel like they're being stepped on, that they're being treated fairly. It's really just basic people skills. All right, so that goes over big rocks, branching, and OML. And I just want to conclude with some final thoughts on this, which is, you know, the program is challenging, but at the same time, it really is set up for you to succeed. If you just listen to cadre, work with each other, and execute, you know, be able to work well in a stressful environment, just general good people skills, you know, working with others, because it is meant to be a leadership course where you have to, you know, work and lead your peers and be in good physical shape. That really sets you up for success. I mean, it is a challenging program, but at the same time, look, this is not the Special Forces Q course, all right? This is not Mountain Phase in Ranger School or anything. You know, the cadre even said, look, this is not even the hardest school in the Army. So while it is challenging, just put it in the right perspective and you should be all right. All right, so if you have any questions, just go ahead and leave a comment below and I'll try to answer. Some other good resources, armyocs.org. I found some good bits of information on there. Just keep in mind, again, some of it may be dated. Rally Point also, they have some useful information, but again, some of it may be dated. Just keep it in mind in the context of when it was written. And if you found this video interesting, do me a favor and hit like and subscribe for more, because I'll be putting out some more content. And thanks for watching.